In this travelogue, we're headed to Salzburg, Austria, and its surroundings to ogle the scenic locations made famous by arguably the most popular musical film of all time, The Sound of Music. In 1963, a Hollywood scouting team began searching locations in the Salzburg region. By the spring of '64, the cast and crew had arrived with a shooting schedule of 6 weeks. Everything was on cue, a seemingly watertight program. Except for the weather, 6 weeks turned into a slog of 11. Upon completion, everyone returned stateside to wrap up the interior scenes in the 20th Century Fox studios. Finally, to the elation of all involved, The Sound of Music was released in March 1965, and theaters everywhere were sold out. Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer played the starring roles in the Rodgers and Hammerstein production, which won 5 Academy Awards: Best Picture, Sound, Film Editing, Scoring of Music Adaptation, and Best Director, Robert Wise. The Sound of Music is loosely based on the real-life story of the Von Trapp family, a household of singers who dramatically escaped Salzburg in 1938 to flee the Nazi stranglehold after Adolf Hitler annexed Austria into the new German Empire. The movie opens with a series of overhead shots of picturesque locations in and around Salzburg. This picture is of Königssee. You may remember this lake from our Berchtesgaden travelogue. Here is the Wasserschloss, or Water Castle, and another scenic pearl, the town of St. Gilgen on shimmering Lake Wolfgang, located 17 miles east of Salzburg. It is here that Mozart's mother, Anna Maria, was born on Christmas Day in the year 1720. The movie's opening scene has Maria, who's late for prayer, sprinting into the abbey past the mother abbess and sisters who are singing the highs and lows of Maria. Dating from the 8th century A.D., the Nürnberg Abbey, as it's called, is the oldest known convent in the Germanic-speaking world. The abbey, true to life, is where Maria really studied, where she and Georg von Trapp really got married on November 26, 1927. He was 47 and she was 22, and where Hollywood filmed 3 parts of the movie. The first part is when Maria left the convent to meet the captain while singing I Have Confidence. The second was when the children were looking for Maria after she went AWOL. And the third part during the escape scene, when the Nazis demanded entry to search for the family of 9 who seemingly vanished. Because the actual convent is off limits to the outside world, the movie crew was only allowed to film externally in and around the Abbey Church. Soaring 6,000 feet above Salzburg's southern suburbs is perhaps Austria's most fascinating mountain, Untersberg. It is upon this landmass in the opening scene of the movie that Maria says she is singing. Remember when Maria explained passionately to the mother abbess that Untersberg is her mountain, and as a child she used to climb a tree and peer into the convent's garden to watch the sisters at work? Well, here is the mountain, and as I take this picture, I'm standing in front of the abbey, several miles away. So now you know, after calculating the distance from the Untersberg to the convent, for Maria to peer into the convent's garden from a tree, she must have used binoculars. And for her to hear the abbey's bells chiming while she sang on the mountain in the beginning of the movie, then not only did she have bionic hearing, but she also must have been an Olympic athlete in training to even contemplate reaching the convent in time. No wonder she was late. And as for the movie's final scene when the Von Trapps are escaping into Switzerland, well, actually, they're climbing the peak adjacent to Hitler's Eagle's Nest. In essence, they are escaping into Nazi Southern Command. Bad move. Getting back to the beginning of the movie, Maria, not quite ready for a sequestered life of chaste and obedience, is sent by the mother abbess to care for Herr von Trapp's 7 children. On her way, Maria stops by the fountain in the middle of Residence Square, splashing water on the horse's face while singing I Have Confidence. You'll see Residence Square again later in the movie, immediately following the wedding scene, when it is tainted by Nazi flags and goose-stepping German soldiers. Can you imagine the older locals who went into town that morning to do some shopping? They almost certainly would have dropped their grocery bags and collapsed. Déjà vu. From the horse fountain, Maria rode a bus over to the estate Hollywood portrayed as the front of the Von Trapp villa. You'll remember the scenes filmed here, when Maria approached the property on foot while singing I Have Confidence and swinging around those obviously empty bags before peering through the gate. You'll remember when Captain Von Trapp ripped down a Nazi flag hanging from the front facade after returning home from his honeymoon. And lastly, the family silently pushed their vehicle out the gate, only to find Herr Zeller and his Nazi boyfriends there to greet them. The Gestapo were tipped off by the family's butler. Historically, the estate, called Schloss Frohnburg, dates from the 17th century and was used as a country manor by the archbishops. Today, the estate accommodates students from Salzburg's music academy, the Mozarteum. At the villa, Maria meets Herr Trapp's 7 children. The eldest, Liesel, chases Rolf, her admirer, into the garden. By the gazebo, they sing 16 going on 17. More than 300,000 fans visit the gazebo annually to relive this harmonious scene. Quite often, fans are seen jiggling the door handle for the opportunity to step inside and dance on the benches like in the movie. But to no avail. The gazebo was always kept locked ever since previous, equally enthusiastic visitors have been carted off with sprained ankles and broken limbs. Liesel gets soaked in the rain and Maria decides to tailor a set of play clothes for the children made from old curtains. In their new duds, Maria and the children dance their way through Salzburg and beyond while learning to sing Do-Re-Mi. From the extravagant horse trough to the green market, across the river and into the Alps. This scene was actually filmed 25 miles south of Salzburg. You can see the fortress of Werfen in the background. Clint Eastwood and Richard Burton fans will know this area from the movie Where Eagles Dare. The drape-wearing sequence is wrapped up in the marvelous Mirabelle Gardens. Maria and the children skipped all through this fragrant reserve, as we're sure you will too.